Hi everyone, here's some of what's heading your way tonight. Your news at 9.
The state of Missouri shifts to the next phase of their COVID-19 vaccination plan, opening it up to residents 65 and older and people with comorbidities. I'm Zach Dodge with which local providers have vaccines in hand, coming up.
The home of the New England Patriots, now the home of a COVID-19 vaccination site. I'm Molly Line in Foxborough, Massachusetts, with more on the efforts underway across the country to continue COVID vaccinations.
Remembering the contributions of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I'm Jonathan Seri in Atlanta, remembering the life and legacy of a civil rights icon, coming up.
Doug Hedges weather. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. Authorities in Oklahoma arrest a suspect in a Lamar, Missouri murder. David Morris of Dunnewick, Missouri was arrested today in Grove, Oklahoma. Morris is a suspect in the July 2020 murder of 51-year-old Terry Harless of Lamar. 2 other suspects, Trey Ackerson of Joplin and Lane Bronson of Webb City, have also been arrested in this case. All 3 are being charged with second-degree homicide. State of Missouri announced today that they've moved to the next phase of its coronavirus vaccine distribution plan, but many healthcare providers are having trouble getting supply. KOAM's Zach Dodge has the story.
A big day for Nikki Straw as she takes a big step towards protecting herself from COVID-19.
I'm just glad we got it finally, because I've really been nervous about that.
Mercy Hospital has started vaccinating residents 65 and older and those with underlying health conditions as the state moves to Phase 1B, Tier 2 of the vaccination plan.
I think the vaccine represents a lot of hope for many in being able to be back out in the community more, being able to be around their family.
But Mercy is just about the only healthcare provider in our area doing vaccinations for this group.
It is not a automatic that you get it.
Dr. Dennis Estep with Freeman Hospital says they continue to order vaccines from the state every week, but that doesn't mean they get them every time. Their most recent order hasn't come in and they don't know when it will.
You send them information and very seldom do you ever get any response back.
And they aren't the only ones. We reached out to all of the health departments and hospitals in our 5-county viewing area. Mercy Hospital and McDonald County Health Department are the only providers being able to vaccinate residents who fall into Tier 2.
So we don't know what's going to happen with that. We were thinking maybe the federal government may have had some vaccines, but apparently it's our understanding that maybe there's not a lot.
A representative with the State Department of Health tells us that supply continues to be extremely limited, with the entire state only receiving around 80,000 doses a week. While they wait, some providers, like Nevada Regional Medical Center, have created waiting lists. But it makes it frustrating for many as demand for vaccines continues to increase, but providers have no other option but to tell residents they'll just have to wait.
Going from 1A to 1B, Tier 1, Tier 2 in a short amount of time, that's kind of put us in a position that's a little frustrating because the vaccine is not there.
In Joplin, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
The State Department of Health estimates there are approximately 2.5 million residents who are currently eligible to receive a vaccine. We have more information on what providers are doing those waiting lists in this story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Jasper County, Missouri Health Department reports 3 new coronavirus-related deaths. Officials say the patients were all women, 2 in their 80s, 1 in her 60s. These deaths bring the county's total to 113. Crawford County, Kansas Health Department is reporting 1 new death, bringing that county's total to 35. You can get updated COVID statistics from other communities around the 4 states by clicking on the link at KOAMnewsnow.com. States across the country ramping up their distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine, opening new mass vaccination centers. Fox News correspondent Molly Line has the latest from Massachusetts.
Mass vaccination sites operating across the country as the demand for the coronavirus vaccine continues to rise. Gillette Stadium opening to first responders and healthcare workers Monday. The home of the New England Patriots is the first mass vaccination site in the state of Massachusetts.
Everyone's excited to get this rolled out and get everyone vaccinated.
The aim at Gillette is to vaccinate up to 500 people a day, eventually growing that number to 5,000 as more people become eligible for the vaccine. Other states also ramping up vaccine distribution. States like Arizona and California, where COVID-19 cases have skyrocketed over the last month, have opened up vaccine sites at places like State Farm Stadium, Dodger Stadium, and even Disneyland.
Soon, we will be able to vaccinate over 7,000 people each day just at this location.
While some have had difficulty signing up for an appointment at these mega sites, many say once they arrive, the process is quick and easy.
From the time we pulled up to be the first in line to the time we drove off, 3 minutes maybe.
Just over 1 million people in the U.S. have received both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. Medical experts say between 75 and 85% of the population will need to get vaccinated to achieve herd immunity, which may not be achieved until late in the year.
By the time we get to the beginning of the fall, that hopefully we will get that critical number.
State leaders here in Massachusetts are also working with Fenway Park in hopes of opening that as a vaccination site in February. In Foxborough, Massachusetts, Molly Line, Fox News.
Major economies around the world saw a downturn during the pandemic, right? But not China. New data shows the country was likely the world's only major economy to expand last year, even though, of course, it was the first to suffer from the coronavirus pandemic. China's gross domestic product grew by 2.3% in 2020. That's according to the Chinese National Bureau of Statistics. This as consumers and businesses gradually recovered from the COVID-19 lockdowns. Economic activity in China plummeted 6.8% in the first 3 months of 2020 amid restrictions aimed at containing the new coronavirus. But the recovery ramped up throughout the rest of the year as the virus reportedly abated in China and consumers returned to malls, movie theaters, also those restaurants. Doug Eddy joining us now with our first look at the forecast. You look good after Sunday. I got to ask you, how many times did you ask yourself, is this it? Is this the last day of the season for the Chiefs?
A lot. Actually, it was a little nerve-wracking there, especially in the second half when Mahomes goes down, but hey, they powered through it, so survive another week, so I'm very happy about that. And it was a little chilly out there, but definitely warmer for us today. We started at 27, 55 for a high. Average high is 45 degrees, and we've had a lot of clouds throughout the entire day. A very weak little system has been rolling through, and there have been a few little random showers in our southern counties. Now, most of this is not even reaching the ground, so most of us are going to stay dry, and we'll see the clouds sticking around tonight. Then we'll break out, see partly sunny skies for us tomorrow. But northerly winds kicking in, so ushering in a little bit cooler air. We'll look at the entire week here in just a bit.
They got the W. That's what's important.
Yes.
Doug Eddy, catch you a little bit. Thank you. Today we honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his fight for equality and his message still a driving force in conversations about racism in our nation. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seary has more on how people across the country are remembering his contributions on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
People across the country on Monday commemorating the life and legacy of Martin Luther King Jr.
Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty, we are free at last!
The 10th annual wreath-laying ceremony at the MLK Memorial in Washington, D.C., looking a little different this year. The event virtual because of the pandemic, and the memorial closed to the public because of threats of violence in the nation's capital. With the devastating impacts of COVID-19 and racial injustice protests over the last year comes an urgent call to bring people together, saying King's words are just as relevant today as they were decades ago.
Dr. King's visage, along with his words memorialized in granite, remind us that out of a mountain of despair, he is our stone of hope.
Following the event, food will be given to those in need as part of the nationwide day of service on this holiday, aimed at Americans improving their communities.
It's more than just a day of service, a day of projects. It's a day to unite the community, bring everyone together.
President-elect Joe Biden and members of the soon-to-be First Family getting involved in Philadelphia, filling boxes at a food pantry, and President-elect Kamala Harris and her husband lending a hand at a pantry in Washington. Dr. King was assassinated April 4, 1968. His killer died in prison while serving a 99-year sentence. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seary, Fox News.
There were, of course, several local events also honoring the legacy of MLK. One of them was hosted by Joplin for Justice. Social distancing and no large gatherings meant the group decided to instead pick up some trash around town. It was an act of service to honor the civil rights leader.
You know, we really want to be able to be unifying, which was a big message for Martin Luther King Jr. We want to be able to unify the community and help each other and be there for each other. So really, it was just an opportunity where everybody doesn't have to go, stand on a corner in the cold weather.
Carl Junction, Neosho, and Webb City also used today to spruce up their towns. The Black Student Association and Alpha Pi Kappa at Pitt State hosted an MLK observance. It included a candlelight visual. There was also a program that included songs, the I Have a Dream speech, also reflections from students.
We should just care for each other and show empathy, because I think that's what King really meant with everything that he did. He was about nonviolence, he was about peace, and I think that's where we need to get back to today.
The public was invited and social distancing measures were in place. Over in Joplin, MSSU's MLK observance included feature speaker Nimrod Chappell Jr. He's president of the Missouri State Conference of the National Association of Colored People. There were also musical performances.
We have an obligation to do what we can to ensure that we make sure America lives up to its promise for all citizens.
Some of the musicians who performed at MSSU today traveled from Kansas City, Missouri. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Orville Bell served in the U.S. Army from 1942 to 1945. He guarded German prisoners on the Rhine River and earned several awards. We are proud to thank Orville Bell. He is tonight's four-state hero. Doug is up next with a complete look at the forecast, and a bit later, a pretty awesome story. Celebrations for this year's inauguration, the uniqueness of the newest dog to call the White House home.
Well, it turned out to be a decent Monday for us today. Temperature is pretty good, but of course we had the clouds throughout the entire day, which you can see on our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort tower cam, time-lapsing throughout the daytime hours for you today, but still pretty good as we did go at least into the mid-50s for highs, which we will definitely take, especially this time of the year. It's always nice to be a little bit warmer than what we should be. But zooming in, most of us right now, we're cooling down. We've had a weak little cold front roll through, so 45, we got west winds at about 5 to 10. Humidity is at 53%. And most of us around the metro, anywhere from 48, Neosho 41 in Pittsburgh, Miami at 41, Carthage is sitting at 44, Sarcoxie is sitting at 43 degrees. A little bit cooler in northern counties. There's a little bit cooler air starting to usher in. Yates Center 36, 34 in Iola, 36 in Nevada, while everybody else in our southern counties still hanging on into the mid to upper 40s. We had southwesterly winds earlier today. Now you can see the winds switching around toward the north behind this weak little cold front, which is going to, well, cause us to be about 10 degrees colder tomorrow compared to what we did see today. Now with it, we've had some clouds, even a few random showers, mainly in our southern counties, but most of these showers haven't even been reaching the ground. There may be a sprinkler or two, but that's just about it. And then behind it, we'll start to clear out just a bit as we work into the daytime hours tomorrow. But you can see the south winds ahead of it, the north winds behind it, and the winds are actually going to pick up a decent amount as we work through about the next 24 hours. Out to the west, we have some very disorganized waves, one across parts of Montana into Utah, another one just south of Los Angeles, California, and eventually these are going to eject out later on in the week. They're just not going to do a whole bunch for us as we work through the next few days. All right, for us tonight, we'll have partly cloudy skies, kind of cold. We'll drop back into the upper 20s for overnight lows. So we'll start at 29, northwesterly winds, kind of breezy for us tomorrow at about 5 to 15 in the morning and then 10 to 15 during the afternoon. 41 by noon, high temp right around 46 during the afternoon hours. Next little wave mainly shoots to our south. This is Wednesday night into Thursday morning. We're going to have some clouds. We may get a random shower from it, and that's about it. Then another storm system will start to roll in late Saturday night into Sunday. And what this will do is give us some chances for rain during the daytime hours on Sunday, and then a backside wave kicks in on Monday, which this could be rain or snow. So we'll have to watch that. And then another system comes in by Wednesday. of next week. And I think this system will have the potential to be a little bit stronger than what we are looking at least right there on the map. So we're going to watch several systems by the time we work toward the weekend and early next week. But most of this week, pretty quiet. 46 tomorrow, 56 on Wednesday, 55 on Thursday, and then cooling back down a bit by Friday.
Yesterday was pretty good weather for a football game, too.
It was just windy.
Yeah.
So that always makes it feel kind of cold.
But again, they got that W.
They did.
Doug, see you in a little bit. Thank you. Coming up, the D.C. bubble.
Security officials are keeping the public out and vetting those on the inside. I'm Lauren Blanchard with the latest on the lockdown here in D.C. ahead of the inauguration.
The acting Secretary of Defense and acting Secretary of Homeland Security say they do not have any intelligence suggesting there could be an inside attack on Inauguration Day, but they're not taking any chances. For more on how D.C. is preparing for Inauguration Day just days away now, we turn to Fox's Lauren Blanchard with more.
No stone unturned when it comes to somebody thinking about threatening the peaceful transfer of power.
The sheer size of security for this year's presidential inauguration, unlike any event before it. The acting Department of Homeland Security Secretary Peter Gaynor says they have not found evidence of any inside attacks planned. Either way, they will vet all of the 25,000 National Guard troops in town protecting the White House, Capitol, and federal buildings.
Everyone is on heightened senses, heightened alert. What happened on the 6th is absolutely uncalled for. It's horrible in our history.
We can either do it or be second-guessed after the fact for not doing it.
D.C.'s busiest streets now empty, except for fencing, barriers, and National Guard troops on watch over the district ahead of the inauguration.
This level of security is required so we can have a peaceful transition of presidential power.
Analysts say after the security failures at the Capitol, authorities cannot risk being overrun by protesters again.
They're erring on the side of being over-prepared because January 6th was such a humiliating embarrassment for the United States.
Inauguration week in D.C. is normally a massive tourism boost to the local economy. But coupled with coronavirus restrictions, this year, bare streets, boarded up windows, and warnings to stay away have left the hospitality industry empty-handed. Although they understand why the security measures are in place.
It almost feels like the saddest ending of the saddest year.
The D.C. National Guard is asking people to be patient. There's no timeline yet on when the extra security will come down. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Just ahead of the beginning of a week with several transitions.
I'm Ray Bogan. We've got a look at how the first 10 days of the Biden administration are shaping up. That story, plus the latest on President Trump's impeachment trial, next.
With his inauguration just 2 days away, President-elect Joe Biden spent the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service volunteering near his home. In the nation's capital, his incoming vice president did the same while also talking about what's to come, their first day in office. Fox News correspondent Ray Bogan has more on that, plus the latest on the president's looming impeachment trial.
The Bidens are spending their final days outside the White House volunteering, ahead of what's shaping up to be a busy first 10 days inside the Oval Office.
Some would say that ours is an ambitious goal, but we do believe with hard work and with the cooperation and collaboration of the members of the United States Congress that we can get it done.
The incoming president plans to sign dozens of executive orders and directives in his first week and a half that his chief of staff says will help him begin to fulfill campaign promises. On day one, Biden says he'll rejoin the Paris Climate Accord, mandate mask use on federal property for 100 days, and extend student loan payment and interest forbearance.
President Biden is going to come into office and take decisive steps to roll back some of the most egregious moves of the Trump administration.
Biden's top priorities are the coronavirus, the economy, and the climate. But he can't do everything alone, and he'll need Congress's help. That's one reason why he doesn't want the Senate spending all its time on an impeachment trial to convict President Trump of inciting an insurrection. Senator Lindsey Graham is taking it a step further and wrote a letter to incoming Majority Leader Chuck Schumer pleading with him not to have a trial. He writes it, quote, would be an unconstitutional act of political vengeance, not a righteous constitutional act.
This is insane at every level. It will create further division in the country. What good comes from impeaching Donald Trump after he leaves office?
A new Quinnipiac poll shows 59% of voters believe President Trump should not be allowed to hold office again. Ray Bogan, Fox News.
The Girl Scouts teaming up with a food delivery company to overcome this year's monumental challenges. 4 States on back right after this. There are a few things that can, really make us happy during this time, and one of them is definitely Girl Scout cookies, I think, in a way. Getting some of your favorite cookies going to be a lot easier for you this winter. For the first time ever, the Girl Scouts are teaming up with Grubhub to offer delivery and contact-free pickup of their iconic cookies. The arrangement will be in select cities in several states, okay, so only select cities. Go ahead and check if it's in your city if you're up for that. Grubhub is waiving delivery fees so that 100% of the proceeds are going to the Girl Scouts. That's awesome. Online ordering through Grubhub and the Girl Scouts digital cookie platform starts February 1st. I like those coconut caramel cookies. I have no idea what they're called. My wife was in the Girl Scouts. I can hear her yelling to me what they're called, but I know they're caramel coconut. Those are my favorite. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
Restoration work is underway on the Praying Hands in Webb City. I'm Kate Kelly with details on the project.
A new migrant caravan is making its way to the border in what could be an early test of the new administration's immigration policy. I'm William LaJeunesse in Los Angeles. Details coming up.
Time, also weather, taking a toll on the Praying Hands over in Webb City, Missouri, but contractors are coming together to restore the monument to its former glory. KOAM's Kelly tells us why this statue means so many, just so much.
Jack Dawson is the artist behind this monument. Witnessing the unrest in the 60s, he decided to bring to life a symbol to pause and pray.
As we look for peace, as we look for love or joy or meaning in life, and I think that prayer is a vital part of that process.
The monument was built in 1973, and its legacy has withstood the test of time, becoming an icon for many locals.
It's important for my grandkids to be able to walk out and see this and drive by at night and see that thing shining up like a beacon in the air. It's important for me because it's my hometown, and I think it's important for many of our community members, same as me.
Especially in today's times when it seems like the nation is so divided. This is something that seems like it's good to bring us all together and be able to help out and bring this crew together.
Inside the Praying Hands statue, you can see how water damage and rust are eating away at the base of the monument.
We are trying to firm up the substructure of the Praying Hands monument. It has been moving around and due to environmental loads, even the seismic events we had 5 years ago, and allowing water to infiltrate and compromise the interior structure.
The goal is to reinforce the concrete and secure the foundation. New steel supports will also be added. Seeing this restoration work take place means a lot to Dawson. The message of hands in prayer and world in peace remains the same.
It doesn't just preserve the monument itself, which is vitally important, but it also presents to our community and those that pass by that they can slow down and wonder why they're there. And then as they get farther into the symbol itself, they begin to find that God is very much at work.
In Webb City, Kate Kelly, KOAM News.
The Dawson Heritage Foundation has contracted with Midland Enterprises for the project, but several subcontractors like Solid Rock and North Fork Structural Engineering are pitching in for free. Work should be done in about a month's time. The Oklahoma Office of Workforce Development is trying to make workforce training programs available to more residents. Programs include training for IT services, manufacturing skills, and a dislocated worker program, among others. All of these trainings are available for free to Oklahoma residents. A difficult pandemic has meant above average acts of kindness. A nonprofit is making sure people in Southeast Kansas can still get their groceries safely. Live Well Crawford County, Kansas is part of an effort promoting curbside and delivery options for groceries in the country. The group has also received a grant from the Kansas Leadership Center to cover the cost of grocery deliveries to 300 shoppers.
We began delivering long before COVID, but when COVID hit, we saw the orders increase quite a bit, and more so from young families that may have had somebody quarantined or kids that was sick.
Ron's Supermarket is one of the participating partners. It's seen a big increase in the number of people ordering online and says this could be the future of grocery shopping. There were major clashes at the Guatemalan border on Sunday as a caravan of Honduran migrants attempted to make their way north to the U.S. border, but they might not get the reception they were hoping for from the Biden administration. Fox News national correspondent William Lajeunesse has more from Los Angeles.
Thousands of Honduran migrants fighting with Guatemalan troops at the border on Sunday. They're part of a new caravan, as many as 9,000 moving north. But it won't be easy. The Guatemalan and Mexican governments say they will enforce immigration laws at their border, and some Guatemalan officials are blaming the violence on criminals traveling with the migrants.
Elements of Honduran organized crime had infiltrated the caravan. This worried us, and fortunately the forces of law and order established a contingency plan.
Most of the migrants say economic circumstances forced them to leave. The COVID pandemic and several direct hits from hurricanes wiped out thousands of jobs. And they're hoping the incoming Biden administration will relax some of President Trump's border policies.
The organizers of these caravans have been very clear. The reason why this is happening right now is because of the perception that our borders are going to be open under the Biden administration.
A senior official with the transition team says this isn't the time to start letting in thousands of undocumented migrants, and he warned they won't be allowed entry immediately. But the migrants say they have no choice but to keep marching.
First, the pandemic. Then the two downpours have left us in crisis.
There is no other way. We have to get out of this country because we are going to die here.
The Guatemalan government says at least 21 of the migrants have tested positive for COVID-19. In Los Angeles, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
A bit later, soon this dog is going to be establishing his home in the White House, and going to hear why this dog is extra deserving of some TLC.
Well, of course, it turned out to be an okay Monday for us today. A lot of clouds across the region, but temperatures pretty good, quite a bit warmer than what we saw over the weekend as we were mainly into the upper 30s to lower 40s. Today into the mid 50s. Just not much in the way of sunshine, which is very evident on our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort time lapse for you just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Zooming in for us right now, we are sitting into the mid 40s, west winds at about 5 to 10. Our humidity, it's not bad. It's at about 53%. And most of us around the metro are sitting into the mid 40s. Granby, 45, 45 in Oronogo. Commerce, Miami, a little bit cooler. Whew, thought I was going to sneeze there. Sitting into the lower 40s. 36, Yates Center, 32, Iola, 35 in Fort Scott, Nevada. So you can see that cooler air working into our northern counties and then still holding into the low to mid 40s as you get into our southern counties. But a weak little cold front kind of slipped through. So that's why our winds are out of the northwest as of now. So that means we're going to cool down once again tomorrow, probably about 10 degrees colder than what we did see today. But with this system, we're just not seeing much. We've got some clouds out there, a few random showers in our southern counties, which really aren't even reaching the ground. So we're just going to have to deal with the clouds throughout the overnight hours for us tonight. But really any rain is mainly going to stay to our south. If we go out to the west, we have some disorganized storm systems, which are kind of getting going out across Montana and Utah and all the way down off the coast of Baja, California. But this is kind of the beginning of a series of waves that in our pattern that is a little bit more active, and that's going to start to pick up as we work into the weekend. For us tonight, we're okay. We're still going to have partly cloudy skies. Again, we'll drop back upper 20s. So we'll start at 29, kind of cold, kind of breezy. Northwesterly winds at about 10 to 20 throughout the day. 41 by noon, and a high temp cooler, about 10 degrees colder, into the mid 40s during the afternoon. We have a wave that slides to our south Wednesday night into Thursday. It's going to give us some clouds. There's a very slight chance we could get a random shower. That wave pushes on by. Most of Saturday looks good, but Saturday night into Sunday morning, we'll get a wave that will give us some showers, which also could affect the AFC Championship game in Kansas City. So we're going to have to watch that. Then a secondary wave behind it kicks in on Monday. This could be rain or snow. And then another wave on Wednesday, which this wave should be quite a bit stronger as we head into next Wednesday. So it does get kind of active as we work into next week. You can see Sunday and Monday are kind of mild, and then we cool down for the rest of the week to wrap up the month of January. Tomorrow's going to be cooler, 46, 56 by Wednesday, 55 Thursday, cooling back down Friday, and then rain chances increasing as we head into the weekend, but mainly Sunday and Monday. Most of Saturday looks pretty good.
Caramel Delights or Samoas? I just was made aware of what those caramel coconut cookies are. The Girl Scout cookies, of course. They're so good.
Well, I'm glad you know.
Don't you like them?
Yeah, they're okay. I'm not a big sweets guy.
Get off the screen, Doug Hetty. Thanks so much, man. All right, coming up. Controversy after third graders were asked to deconstruct their racial and sexual identities. There are some serious questions being asked about an elementary school in California that had third grade math students deconstruct their racial and sexual identities and then rank themselves according to power and privilege. Fox News national correspondent William Lajeunesse joins us again with a look into this matter.
Cupertino, California, home to Apple and Meyerholtz Elementary, where some parents were incensed by what the school taught their children.
They are frustrated, baffled, and even outraged by the level of political indoctrination and brainwashing in this particular divisive curriculum.
Meyerholtz is a highly rated, predominantly Asian American and Caucasian public school where, according to course documents provided to Fox News, a teacher asked third graders to rank themselves according to their power and privilege, being white or middle class, educated, Christian, able-bodied, or English-speaking. Another slide asked students to identify the benefits of being part of a dominant culture.
Parents think, and I agree, that this sows division and hatred in their young minds.
Wenwu says the course looks to be part of a ethnic and minority studies mandate coming statewide. One assignment required third graders to explore their sexual identity, providing this example, quote, "I used to think everyone is either a boy or a girl, but now I know that gender is something you get to choose. It can be the same sex as the doctor assigned to you at birth, or it can be different." One educator says it's entirely appropriate.
We're often asked, aren't kids too young to be learning about all this stuff related to gender? And we feel like that's the wrong question because they're already learning a ton about gender.
Confronted by parents, the school backed down, saying, in November, the district became aware of concerns from parents. To clarify, the materials in question were not part of the district's adopted curriculum. Governor Newsom's proposed K-12 model ethnic studies curriculum will, quote, elevate the stories and voices of historically marginalized populations. In Los Angeles, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
Back with more news after this. Even though this next story starts out with politics, put that politics aside, okay? Because this next story is really about the awesomeness of dogs. As the nation prepares for the 59th presidential inauguration, one furry member of the Biden family is getting a special celebration of his own ahead of his dad's big day. Fox's Chris DeMeo has more on how one animal shelter is honoring a historic moment for one of its rescue pets.
With just 2 days until the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden, the Delaware Humane Society, where he adopted his pup Major, threw an inauguration event for the soon-to-be first pet. Folks across the country tuning in to give Major a round of applause for being the first ever rescue dog to live in the White House.
Congratulations to Major Biden.
Superstar Josh Groban paying tribute with a remixed version of How Much Is That Doggy in the Window?
I'm adopting that doggy in the window, the one with the waggly tail.
The shelter also giving us an inside look at what Major was like as a puppy. The adorable German Shepherd was rescued along with his 5 siblings back in 2018. All the puppies were extremely sick, so the shelter posted a fundraiser looking for donations for their medical treatments.
Ashley Biden, Joe Biden's daughter, had seen the post and shared it with her father.
And the rest was history, with Major and Joe Biden forging a strong bond almost immediately.
Major was really calm, very, very well behaved, very, he just walked right by his side the whole time.
And during these polarizing times, shelter officials say a dog in the White House is something that transcends party lines.
Regardless, again, of your socioeconomic situation, your political affiliation, your race or ethnicity, Dogs and cats are something that people can connect with.
The Biden's second German Shepherd, Champ, will also be joining Major at the White House, marking the first time in 4 years pets are back in the presidential home. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
All right, going to learn what movies are now available to watch at home when we come back. DVD and digital releases this week include a mother-daughter drama, a buddy comedy, a mystery thriller, and much more. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with a list of new releases.
Welcome to the Miss Juneteenth pageant.
The indie film Miss Juneteenth tops the list of what's new in home entertainment. It features Nicole Beharie as a former beauty queen and single mom who enters her rebellious teen daughter into the Miss Juneteenth pageant. The film also explores the 155-year-old holiday commemorating the end of slavery in the United States and what it means to the black community.
The thief and murderer Allison Wells.
Margot Robbie and Finn Cole star in the Depression-era crime drama Dreamland. Robbie plays a bank robber who is on the run from the cops and gets involved with a teen bounty hunter played by Cole, who struggles between helping or turning her in. Aaron Eckhart plays a private detective who believes a small-town case is connected to his daughter's death in the thriller Wander.
He's gotta go.
The buddy comedy The Climb covers the highs and lows of friendship between two real-life friends.
You know what happened at summer camp.
The mystery thriller Always and Forever is about a group of childhood friends whose dark secrets from the past come back to haunt them.
So what can I help you with?
Adam Brody stars in the dark comedy The Kid Detective. He plays a 31-year-old former child investigator who lands his first adult case when a client hires him to solve the mystery behind her boyfriend's death.
My boy doesn't have to answer to you.
And available only on digital, the action drama Let Him Go, starring Kevin Costner and Diane Lane. They play a longtime married couple who stop at nothing to get their grandson back from a dangerous family living off the grid.
Don't start what you can't finish.
Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Some good stuff right there. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us as always. Going to leave you with a drive-through. Look at that, a drive-through dinosaur exhibit in Pasadena, California. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.